You're listening to The Upland Rookie, a podcast presented by Upland Brits. What's going on, rookies, and welcome back to the Upland Rookie Podcast. I am your host, Will Larson, and as always, you know it, this is presented by Upland Brits. If you don't know what Upland Brits is, just type it into Instagram. It is kind of what started to propel this whole thing forward. Started it out originally, fun fact, originally my account was called Gauge the Brittany. Yes, we started this account when we were about to pick up our new 8-week-old Brit from the family we picked him up from, and we changed it shortly after. I think there was one other name, I forget what it was, before changing it and branding it to Upland Brits. But anyways, a fun little insider fact for you there. Yeah, here we go. Let's get into some sponsors. Eukanuba Premium Performance Dog Food. If you want to get everything your dog's got, then you need nutrition that holds nothing back. To help unleash your dog's maximum potential, check out the new Eukanuba Premium Performance lineup at eukanubasportingdog.com. Also, our newest sponsor, Trinity Bretons. Trinity Bretons is the home of the Épagneul Breton. Yes, that's how you say it. Also known as the French Brittany. All Trinity Breton dogs are from champion bloodlines that are field tested and family approved. For 32 years, Trinity Bretons has worked to offer you the best bred Épagneul Bretons in the country. Period. Now offering the Trinity Upland Academy to help each Trinity Breton client attain and develop the highest level of training available with George Hickox. Trinity is committed to producing premium Épagneul Bretons for the field trialer and foot hunter alike. Angels in the home and demons in the field. Trinity Bretons offers puppies. The Trinity Upland Academy with George Hickox started dogs as well as stud services. Find out a whole lot more and contact Josh at trinitybretons.com. Also find them all over Instagram. I also want to thank my affiliates of the podcast, Dakota 283, Cable Gangs, Brennan Landry, thank you very much, as well as Onyx Hunt. All right, we're going to start with Onyx Hunt today. Guys, I've said it for a couple weeks in a row now. You need to get Onyx Hunt if you are not on it already. Guys, this is an amazing app on your phone, Apple and Android. They also have a web app version that you can use on any computer, just a web address that you type in. And guys, on my lunch break at work, pretty much all the time, guys, at night, I'm at home, I'm podcasting, I'm looking at Onyx constantly, scouting out new public lands, borders, boundaries, private land, who owns this piece of property, how is it connected, what's the best roadway in, you name it. Guys, this is one of the best tools, I believe, out there for upland hunters. They also have a brand new crop data layer. So they have all sorts of layers you can turn on or off and view these maps. And this crop data layer, guys, is going to be changing the game for upland hunters. We show you crop rotations in certain areas. I'm not quite sure if it's rolled out in every state yet. I know they've got a pretty healthy state population so far. I need to dig into that a little bit further, but really going to change the game for upland hunters with that new crop data layer. Cable Gangs, you've heard me talk about them quite a bit. Looking for a new chain gang system, hit up Brennan with Cable Gangs, Gangz, Instagram and Facebook, and let him know that you listen to the podcast. He's going to hook you up with a free item. And lastly, Dakota 283, Greg Cronkite. Thank you so much, sir. It's just been a huge blessing to me and the podcast. Allowed us to do that huge giveaway that we announced on the podcast last week, gave away a Dakota G3 medium kennel, as well as a Dine and Dash or a Dash watering system. So Upland Nash was the winner of that giveaway. Congrats, Upland Nash, on taking that that pretty sweet prize pack from Dakota 283. So again, thank you to them. If you need to pick up any products from Dakota, go ahead and use my promo code. It's TUR10 to save 10% off your order with Dakota 283. All right, guys, that's all the sponsor stuff I have to go over. Today's episode is with a good buddy of mine. We've been following each other on Instagram for a little while. He actually was recommended from Jeremy Lowry. Jeremy freaking Lowry. Dude, this guy is a really good friend of mine, by the way. Jeremy, love you, man. Jeremy has suggested so many good podcast guests for me, and this is another one. I got to throw it back to Jeremy and say thank you for this suggestion. This interview with Scott that you're about to hear, Scott Stohner, he runs Poodle Pointers down in Texas. Yes, the Texas, great state of Texas. Scott and I had a great conversation. Kind of funny story. Our first episode we tried to record is a night my power randomly went out as we were recording. So thankfully we were only about 15 or 20 minutes in. So we jumped on the next day, got this episode recorded, and just had a great time getting to know Scott. He recently had a litter of puppies born. I think he did. This was his first breeding, I believe, and you'll hear a little bit more about that in this episode. But overall, great guy. I actually got to meet him when I was down in Texas on vacation. Him and I connected for a little bit, just grabbed coffee and stuff. And so really humble, honest guy who really has an incredible story, even outside of Upland hunting. Just his career path, what he does professionally, is really cool. Working with dogs, service animals, therapy dogs, all that kind of stuff. So I really hope you're going to enjoy this episode. But I wanted to go over a couple things. And maybe we'll call this Will's Random Thoughts. But hey, we're getting pretty close to September 1st here. We are, probably under 30 days away now by the time you're listening to this. And guys, have fun this year. That's all I got to say is have fun this year. I know a lot of buddies of mine got new puppies very recently, maybe in the last 3 or 4 weeks. Don't get frustrated. And don't expect that, say, 12-week-old puppy to point a rooster. Don't expect that puppy to run 100 yards, quarter in front of you. Don't expect to shoot over them. just lower your expectations, guys. I was there for nearly 4 years ago. With my dog Gage, my first bird dog, and so excited and all this stuff. And he was a little older going into his first season. Because I got him in October. I think we picked him up in October. So hunting season already started. I wasn't super far down that path yet of upland hunting, so I didn't quite have that addictive bug yet. But I was tempted. I was tempted at time to just go out to eastern Colorado and throw him on the ground and see what happens. But I'm thankful I didn't. I was patient, let him develop, so he didn't hunt until that following year. But I used that springtime when he was a few months older and started training and working on gun breaking and quartering and getting him on birds and all that stuff. So all that to say, guys, it's gonna come with time. Don't feel like you're behind. Your dog's gonna get behind. If you picked up a puppy in July or August, even September 1. Enjoy that dog. Let him get used to you and your family, driving in the car with you. It's about the simple things that's going to develop that dog into a good citizen of this world. So don't rush the process. Don't try to hurry up and start shooting blank pistols over its head at 12 weeks old. Just come up with a plan. Ask for help if you need help. There's plenty of people in this community that will willing to lend advice, answer questions. Find a local hunt club or someone near you. You meet some people, ask them questions, get to see things. Hey, how do you do this with a puppy at this age? Just take this season, take it slow, enjoy the puppy time, because it does go by fast, guys. I have Gage is going to be 4 this month. That's kind of hard to believe. That's not old by any means, but that's 4 years, man. We've been going at this 4 years. He's 4 years old. He's not as maybe fast as he was at 1 year old. Gosh, when they're 1, man, they are just tearing it up. Not controlled, but just tearing it up. just kind of crazy. So enjoy the time, everyone. I don't care what kind of bird dog you got. I don't care if you got a pointing lab. Well, I do care if you got a pointing lab. We need to talk about that. But if you got a GSP, a Vizsla, setter, Brittany, Llewellyn setter, pointing Griffon thing, wire hair, whatever breed, I literally don't care. They're all great bird dogs. They're going to find birds. They're going to be great companions, friends to you. Take care of them. Just enjoy this time as they're puppies. Let them develop, let them grow. And yeah, you veteran hunters out there, maybe you got a couple older dogs on your string, maybe you got a couple older dogs in your house. Cherish this time, guys. I don't know why I'm just getting all sentimental right now, getting a little sappy. It's just hitting me, man. These dogs work hard for us. They want to please us. They want to work with us, the good ones at least. And just take care of them. Cherish these hunts. Cherish these memories going into this season. For some of us, man, if you have an older dog, this might be the last season before you need to retire them, before they really can hunt much longer. I mean, they might be slowing down so bad that maybe you're making that decision soon if you're going to retire them from hunting. Some hard stuff coming up, and just soak in this season with those veteran dogs. You look back through old photos, memories, talk with your buddies around the campfire, around the tailgate, just on what those dogs did for you. Share with those new guys out there. Share about the hard times you had with your dogs. We don't share enough about the hard times, about the times that we lost our dog for an hour. The times that the dog, blew up a covey and we didn't get a bird that day. The time the dog had a face full of, porcupine quills. There's so many things that I don't think we share with the younger guys or the younger girls that were hard for you veteran hunters. Share those stories. Share those experiences that were difficult for you, that weren't perfect, weren't ideal. Share how you screwed up sometimes with your dog, or shared how you missed those birds that season, whatever it might be. It's real. It's what happens to all of us. And those new guys and girls coming up through the ranks, coming up into the uplands, we need to hear those. We need to hear that you didn't have it all figured out, just like we feel, because we feel that same way. I'm 4 years into this, and I still feel I'm brand new. And it helps me sometimes. I'm talking to older guys that just share, hey, yeah, I messed up on this part, or I got that wrong. It's probably humbling for them, but it also helps those younger folks. It helps humanize those people we look up to and realize, hey, like, they learned too. They messed up too. So I'm sorry. This is going way too long now. This is getting too sappy. I'm sorry, guys. I'm just being real. It's late at night right now. I'm recording this intro, and I'm just feeling all the feels. Excited for this season, 2021-22 coming up here in the next few weeks. So all that to say, guys, enjoy this episode with Scott Stohner, running some great poodle pointers. I did get to meet Lady in person. She was a new mama when I met her down in Texas. And man, she's a beautiful looking dog. Great mama to those puppies. And yeah, you guys enjoy this episode. What's that been like? You're in full puppy mode right now.
Yeah, so they're 3 days old. She had them Tuesday night to Wednesday. Yeah. So yeah, no, it's weighing them twice a day. They're all really small, which is what I wanted. So I bred 2 small dogs because I wanted to keep them small. So they're, like comparing them to other poodle pointer weights, they're all pretty tiny. So I was been kind of nervous about watching them, and it being my first litter, it's like, I want to make sure it's all right.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely. Did you just do like a crap ton of research before all this and just start reading up on litters and
Well,
breeding and all that? Or
yeah. So one of my good friends that I train with a lot, Kirk, his dog just had a litter a month ago. He's a Napa breeder, like in the the club. Uh, and so his best friends also, or like one of his good friends, is also our reproduction vet. So I got lucky. He lives reproduction vet's 20 minutes from me. Kirk's 20 minutes from me. Kirk was here the night and helped me like deliver him the
oh,
first few,
nice.
and stayed here until I think like 2 a.m. or 1 a.m. And I delivered the last three solo.
Okay.
But no, yeah, I read a lot, watched a lot of videos, kind of just did, yeah, a lot of research. And then I went and helped him with Judy one day or one
Okay.
night. So and what's good is hers was way worse. Like she had like fluids. I mean, it was, I mean, I expected ladies to be terrible, and ladies was like, no, pushed them all
Okay.
out. I mean, she had first three within an hour, which is ridiculously
Wow.
fast.
That's really quick.
Yeah. So,
That's
and
awesome, man.
then it was like every other one was 2 hours in between. Made me
Okay.
like stay up late. But
Makes for a long night.
I don't think it would have been as bad if it was during the day. That's probably the roughest part is you have to pull an all nighter basically. And then you're nervous about all of them latching on,
Oh,
and you
sure. Then
make
you
sure they're all eating. And she's a first time mom. So I was like, I'm gonna make sure she doesn't lay on them. How's she gonna move them? And she's doing everything perfect. Like she's moving them with her tongue. She's not picking them up. I mean, like
yeah.
I've also seen her, when I got her as a younger dog, we had chickens and they got out one day and like they laid an egg in the yard. She brought the egg through our dog door and set it like right there and it wasn't broken. And I like looked
No
there and I
way.
was like, I asked my wife, I was like, what, babe, how did an egg get here? And she was like, I don't know. And so then I realized, like, I think she brought it in. So I went and set it out there. I told her to go get the egg. Well, she brought it back, not broken. Then as soon as she dropped it, it broke that time. And I was like, oh,
Wow.
well, that's how it got here. She just didn't break it the first
That's
time.
wild. That's
Yeah.
that's kind of good. That's good. You don't want a dog hard mouthing it. That's
Yeah.
awesome. Well, dude, congrats. That's very exciting. I'm glad puppies are healthy. Glad ladies healthy, and that's. I'm also glad we got this podcast scheduled because
Yeah.
the last time you and I tried this, my power went out. So
Uh-huh. Yeah, for
that
sure.
was kind of a weird, kind of a weird thing, but
Yeah.
uh,
I definitely understand. We had that snowmageddon where we didn't have power for days here. We get
yeah.
lucky. We're on like the hospital grid, so ours never went out. But we
Okay.
had like people coming over and like they
Nice.
didn't have power for a week.
Okay. Well, maybe we're going to be down near you starting next Thursday. So
Yeah, if you're
maybe I
bored, give me
might,
a
yeah,
call.
maybe I might try to
Go see some puppies.
jump on over, see some puppies. So it might be fun.
Yeah, I'm right by the lake. I mean, I'm at 66 in Dow Rock. It's kind of like a main
Okay. Okay.
area.
I'll have to shoot you kind of where we're at, but love to connect with you.
For sure.
All right, brother, let's dive in. I know it's early. It's 5:30 ish here. It's a little later your time, but you look more tired than I do. I'm not gonna lie. I think the
I
all
actually
night.
got good sleep last night. Is the sad part. Like 4 hours was good for me.
Well,
The
you're
night
playing
before
catch
was-
up. You're
Yeah.
playing catch up still, so that's all right.
Yeah.
So Scott, put us on the map and just give everyone a glimpse, just a brief overview. Who is Scott?
Yeah, so I'm Scott Stoner. I live in Rockwall, which is east of Dallas, Texas. I own a substance use treatment facility, and I also just now started breeding poodle pointers. But I kind of train service/hunting dogs, which is unique. And so that's me in a nutshell. I'm a dad. I'm a husband. I have an adopted son, Eli. He'll be 2 on the 27th. So of next month, July 27th, he'll turn 2. So that's me in a quick nutshell.
Nice, man. And you have one or two poodle pointers?
I have one.
One. Okay, just
Training
lady.
one other one right now.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah,
All
I'm
right.
gonna take one of these puppies. So I'll have two. I guess I have two technically now. I got not 8 right now.
And how many puppies total did she have?
7.
Seven. Okay.
So
Okay. Nice.
5
I know.
males, 2 females.
Okay. Nice. And will you keep a male or female?
Honestly, I haven't decided yet.
Okay.
So my goal is just to make sure that both sexes of the dogs go to a place where it'll get tested to where I can at least breed it, and then the other ones at least go somewhere where I know they're going to get hunted a ton. And so it depends on what the Stohner is going to take, and he hasn't decided yet, or if he's going to take one. So
Okay. So it's kind of a domino effect. You're
yeah,
waiting.
I'm waiting for that one, and then I'll kind of figure that out. But
Yeah.
he hasn't decided up until like yesterday. So
Okay, sounds good.
maybe he'll
Sounds good.
decide.
More info to come. Let's get into a little bit. I find your career. We've chatted a little bit prior to jumping on here, just so your career path is pretty interesting. Can you expand on that a little bit more? Kind of what you do for work, and then also
Yeah.
how do dogs interject with that or intersect?
Yeah. So I started this job, I guess, in 2011, 2012. But in 2011, I went to, or 2000, yeah, 2011, October 16, 2011, I went to treatment for opiate use for heroin addiction. And so I decided then that, I always liked helping people. So I was going to just be a counselor afterwards. And so I was just going to kind of take that career path. And I've always wanted to have my own business, kind of do my own thing. And so I figured, I'll figure out how to start a treatment center, residential, outpatient, whatever kind of I had to do. And so from treatment, I went and lived in a halfway house, went to school, and kind of started that journey, and then became a counselor, worked as an intern, and then now I currently operate as a drug court counselor for the 417th District Court. And so that it's an adolescent drug court, and we created a program that uses or utilizes incentives instead of sanctions. So we try to make the kids have fun instead of saying you're going to jail, which is what they kind of need to hear. Their brain works better on those type of pathways, and so we really kind of try to find those things, and how dogs play a role in all that is well, Lady's personally my service dog, but she's also a trained therapy dog. So when kids are in group, and it's weird for kids to sit around in a circle and talk about their feelings and about what upsets them and stuff like that, and so they get nervous, they get anxious, and so I've trained Lady to do some little things that if a kid were to tap his fingers and she goes over there and does space clearing in front of him or leans on him so they can pet her. If you tap your shoulders, she'll give you a hug. She'll sit in your lap. She'll also, detect adrenaline levels and cortisol spikes and kind of go to the person that has the highest ones of those.
Wow.
So she plays a role in that. And I mean, honestly, like I've worked with like a 13-year-old who you could tell did not want to talk, and I bring Lady in there, and he's like hugging on her by the end of the thing on the ground. So
Wow.
she kind of makes my job easier, if I had to say,
Wow.
because she just, I mean, it's hard to be upset when a dog is sitting there like letting you pet it, and is super sweet. And so that's how she kind of helps in my job and how I kind of got into it.
And that's really cool. So many questions there. So when you're in these therapy sessions, is it you're counseling these kids? Are you is it a counseling job that you are? Sorry, my alarm's going off. Are you counseling with these kids and the dog's just there for kind of therapy and reinforcement aid, or like?
So I've done a little bit of everything. So my program that I created is more life skills development, more walk and talks, more learning like how to do real things. And so Lady's done, I mean, sometimes she is just sitting there. Sometimes I'll ask them if they want her to sit next to him, and I'll make her go, I just point and tell her go, and she'll go sit there. But sometimes I've also used her like to teach people how to train dogs, like show them like, hey, this is what also you can do with them that makes them kind of fun. So I mean, there's been kids, and working with the judicial system, you can't use guns. So I'm not allowed to like take them hunting.
Sure.
I've honestly thought about picking up falconeering or like falconry.
That'd be kind of cool.
I could be like, all right, well, we get to do everything now.
Yeah.
But no, so it's kind of tricky with that. But when I go fishing with them, I take Lady, and so she'll get some bumpers in the water and kind of show them that that's the side of what she can do. I work with adult patients too. And so I've worked with some adult patients who wanted to learn to train dogs. So I would do like individual counseling sessions where we were training dogs together, and I would kind of talk to them in a different environment. And I've found that helps a lot. And so
that's really cool. Is that something a program you already stepped into, or did you create that program from the ground up?
Well, so I was the program manager at a place that used a lot of art therapy and kind of had some different stuff, but I think I'm probably the first experiential type program that's done that, because no one wanted to take the liability. You're taking 15 to 18-year-old, 10 of them that are on probation at a time, to a public place, like 2 people. It could be risky, I guess. I just didn't really care. I wanted to kind of just go down those barriers and
just give it a shot.
Them. Yeah. I mean, end of the day, like if no one's done it and I think they like it and it's what helped me the most, let's go do it with these kids. Cause I honestly, like, a lot of my recovery, a lot of what's helped me the most is all the stuff that I was taught as a kid. I just wasn't utilizing it. You know, like my
Mm.
brain had gotten dependent on substances instead of finding all these hobbies like hunting, fishing, dogs. I mean, I got hatching birds now. I got pigeons. You
Mm.
know, there's a whole bunch of just random things that my dad, you know, we had turtles as a kid, like just random stuff that I was kind of taught. And I try to pass that stuff along to them along with the therapy. So I do like a cognitive behavior therapy, which helps you reprocess and retrain kind of those neural pathways in the front of your brain to see yourself in a healthier light, see the world
Mm.
kind of in a healthier light. And so that's what I utilize the most, probably, is cognitive behavior therapy when I'm actually working with someone therapeutically. It's not all just, oh, let's go out and have fun. There is kind of some madness or method to the madness there.
Yeah, that's great, man. So on the on like I guess the education side, when you were studying, going to school for this, were dogs a part of that? Like, did you like when did the dogs come into play with your career or education?
So personally, I got my first service type dog, and she was before service dogs were really a thing, but she'd go to school with me. She went to church with me. She kind of went everywhere. My house burned down when I was in high school, and we lost two dogs.
Hmm.
And so we went to Canton, the largest flea market in the state of Texas, and bought two dogs. One of them happened to be a lab that I was going to make our hunting dog. Didn't know a word or thing about dogs or labs or any type of animal. But that was the first dog I actually trained personally and owned. I grew up with my uncle, I don't grow up with him, but I hunted with him, and he had a lab, Lacey, who he could cast, and she was a pheasant dog as well. So she was a great duck dog and pheasant dog, and he always would go to like Nebraska and stuff when I was younger, and I was just like, man, that seems really cool. I'd like to do that, but I grew up just with labs, like duck hunting primarily and dove hunting. So I didn't really get into upland until a couple of years ago. And when I went off to college, they wouldn't allow Blanca to go with me in my freshman year, and then my sophomore year, I had linoleum on the floor, and she couldn't even like put her feet down right. So there was, and by that point, she was my parents' dog. You know,
Sure.
I wasn't getting that dog, and so I adopted there's a dachshund who she was trained to like go and alert on anyone that was crying, which is kind of weird to say that, but if you start crying, she would come jump in your lap, or she would sit right in front of you and squeak a toy, one of the two. And so I used her kind of in my therapy program when I first started that at the facility I worked at. And so I kind of saw the potential for the dogs in that area
Yeah.
then. So whenever I would bring her there, I would sometimes bring her and my miniature pinscher and like the kids in a circle, and they'd be like their arena, and they would just start fighting. And those would be like the calmest groups ever, because all the kids were just like laughing, you know, like, oh man, this is, and they'd open up a lot more. And so I started like,
Might be
there's something to that.
Yeah, might be
And so
something to it.
yeah, I brought Carter. Carter was her name a lot to the place I worked at. And then when she passed away, my wife at the time had a 2-dog rule. We've since busted down that wall.
Yes.
And so we're about to have our third, maybe fourth, who knows? But so she had 2-dog rules. So when Carter passed away, that's when I actually got Lady. But I had wanted a poodle pointer probably about 2 years prior, after researching him, before I actually got her. So I kind of plugged around and looked for him then, and was told we have 2 dogs. And so I got told no on that one. But after Carter passed away, I was like, well, we don't have 2 dogs anymore. So
yeah.
I'm gonna go buy my hunting dog therapy program dog. So.
Totally. So since you touched on that, like what drew you to a poodle pointer? Is it just the versatility, or talk about that a little bit?
Well, so, okay. So like I said, I love labs. I hate their hair. Like, I mean, it is the world's worst. That's the only thing. They're a Christmas tree when they shake. Like, poof. And so I'm an adult now. I didn't want to deal with all that. So I went to, and this is like heresy in the poodle pointer world. I went to a forum and posted, hey, I'm looking for a hunting golden doodle or labradoodle breeder. And this was, I guess, 5 or 6 years ago. And basically I was told that doesn't exist. And I was like, dang it. But then 2 guys commented. One's AJ, who's actually the stud owner I use, and my friend that I hunt with in the Panhandle. The other's Kirk, the guy I mentioned earlier that I train with. Both commented and said, hey, if you're an actual hunter, you should probably look at this breed. But don't get one if you're not a hunter. Like, if you're not prepared to like spend some time with them, they're going to be amped all the time. You're not going to enjoy it, which at the time I was like, trying to call me a non-hunter, dude. You don't even know me.
Yeah.
But now after owning the dog, it's like, yeah, if you don't, I mean, if you don't have 15 minutes a day to go run it and you don't teach it its job, it will be nuts. Because I've worked with some that are nuts, and after a month of working with them, they're not, because they learn their job. So that's how I found them. And then I just started. I got mine from Cedar Woods, which is like the oldest or second oldest, tied with the oldest, biggest breeder there ever's been. Bob Ferris is his name. He wrote a book, literally how to train and breed versatile hunting dogs. And I think I just bugged him too much, and he finally gave me one. He was, I would send him all these breedings that I was finding from just random people on the NAVDA website. And he was like, these are all terrible. He goes, I have a good one in Minnesota coming up. I'll put you on the list. I think I was 10th on the list because she was 10, one of 10.
Okay.
And I was never told where I was at on the list. So I assumed that meant pretty far down. But he was like, you got picked, you're going to go here. You didn't pick your dog or anything like that. It was like, I got given Red.
Yeah.
Was her name at the
This
day.
is it.
Yeah. And so that's where that started. But
so when you were wanting to pick up the poodle pointer, was it in the back of your mind that at that time you wanted to also have her be a service dog, or did that come later?
Yeah, no, I knew I wanted her to be a service dog. I've always liked having my dogs everywhere. I kind of live my life like with a dog around, and I like that. It helps me a lot personally. And then, I kind of had the intention, and I did a lot of stuff early on with her to kind of get her ready for that. I mean, at 4 or 5 months, she was in a vest going everywhere with me. I mean, elevators, stairways, escalators, like everything you could think of to get her weirded out, just to normalize it so I could take her stuff.
Yeah. So you touched on that. I mean, it sounds like you started her service training pretty early. Was service training and hunting and obedience, were you doing all that simultaneously, or did you kind of work on things in chunks or blocks when training her?
Yeah. So I like to do like circular training, kind of, like if I'm doing a training model or method that day, I'll have a planned kind of, I live right next to this park. So I walk it and I'll set up stuff that is for each type of skill that I want to work on that day. And so I would kind of do a little bit of everything, with the adrenaline cortisol spikes. I would put like toys out that were smelling like that and make her go pick the one that smelled the most. And that's how I started training that early on. Whenever you're kind of doing the discipline stuff, you make, and I use a lot of different words for different stuff. I mean, she has stay and she has place, and they're separate meanings. She also has like go to your bed. She has different things, and they all kind of mean the same, but different styles, because she has a bed at different places. She has a different area I want her to play sometimes, and different things like that. And so I'd kind of just work on it fluid type. Now, I will say with NAVDA, I had to not do as much duck hunt training as I like to do. So like being a lab guy, casting is like the first thing we really start trying to push dogs to after you get them fetched, after they'll fetch. And so I couldn't do that with her early on. So that'd probably be the only thing that I trained differently for.
Was that because you shouldn't do that, or just didn't have time to work on that?
No, it's because it messes with their duck search for the NAVDA utility test, which is what I wanted to get done to her before I bred her. Since it's my first time, I wanted to. It's technically, they make that standard for males. Like all the males have to pass utility tests. Females only have to have a natural ability test pass, and I did that with her at like 5 months, 5.5 months. So she was super young for that. And you have up until 18 months. And so my goal was to try to get her UT tested before she was 2, so I could get her ready for duck season before then. But then COVID hit kind of, and like canceled all the tests. And so I just kind of like lost, I was like, I ain't gonna train right now. I don't even know if there's tests. And so I ended up not testing her until she was a little after 2. And she actually injured herself the first time on the first test and got I
think barbed wire or something.
Oh, well, she's injured herself on 2 different tests.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah. So first, when she was 5 months, she hit barbed wire and sliced her arm open on a track. So they have to track a live pheasant and then bring it back. And then she finished the test, then still was able to finish. This time she launches in water, and I've tried so many times. Like now, if I hunt timber, I just have to check right in front of where she's at, so she's not going to impale herself. But she's always launched. I mean, she loves the water. So she launched in Nebraska on her duck search and took a stick through the foot.
Oh,
I mean, like there was a hole from top to bottom, and it got like stuck in there. I mean, like I had to go get it abscessed out a couple days later. And so she actually still, and then I didn't know what was up with her. So she came back 3-legged, 10 feet into a send. And I'm like, what is this? I was like, I have a plan B. this isn't even on the plan. So my dog comes up 3-leg, and I look at the judge. I was like, what do I do? They're like, your dog needs to search. And I was like, oh, I was hoping it was just a sticker. So she was cued when I trained her. I cued her off splashes to go if she was acting weak.
Yeah.
So I had a rock in my pocket, chunked it, recenter, and she searched for like 8 minutes. They have to search for 10. So if she would have searched for the 10, she would have gotten something, but she did like 8 and came back. And I could tell when she came back, like she wouldn't even walk to the, like I had to like carry her to the car and kind of see what was up. But yeah,
that's brutal, man. That's brutal. Something you touched on. So how, because this is something that's not talked about on hunting podcasts, but I think it's pretty interesting. How do you train a dog to like cue in on like adrenaline spikes or a kid crying? Like how, just go over like the basics of how the hell do you do that?
So it's more simple than you think. So adrenaline, I mean, it's a smell. Like we don't smell it, they do. And so you can buy that scent. And so you just
buy? Really?
Yeah, it's for service work. I don't know if it's actually called adrenaline scent. Let me see if I can tell you, but it's no, there is.
No way.
Yeah, you can just learn. That's what I bought.
I had no idea.
Yeah, so you can buy that scent, put it on stuff, and then make her kind of alert to it. And then there's also like they have, like what they use for. I don't know if you've ever seen how sniffing dogs are trained, but they have like tubes that they'll put their nose in, and if they put their nose in the right one, they get a treat there. So the treat will also be where the adrenaline one is, and so you kind of train them that way. The crying thing. So some of it too is natural. So you got to just know what to look at for the dog. That's why I think it takes so long for people to train service dogs, because a lot of them, you have to learn their cues and then train off of it. So, sometimes for like the weight bearing, when normally a dog puts their shoulders on you, you get them down, right? You're like, no, bad dog. Well, if I'm teaching a dog to weight bear, I just need to teach that command to them and let them know that's the only time they do that. So when she would start putting her shoulders on me, I'd say, hug, good hug. And I would tap my shoulders for her. Well, now, repetition, operant conditioning, she does that automatically. Like if I just say, lady, hug, she comes and gives me a hug. The crying thing, Carter I think she had like a deficiency in salt, if I'm being honest.
Okay.
She would lick sweat too.
Okay.
So I would just kind of utilize that. And anytime she knew like I could go lick their tears, I don't know exactly how she trained for that, but like she kind of just naturally would do that anytime you had those issues. And so space clearing, that's pretty easy too, because if the dog starts walking in a circle around you, you kind of you just teach them a thing. You tell her like someone lady
what would space clearing be used for?
So space clearing is for people who have anxiety disorders. So it gets people away from you, makes you feel like you're kind of in your own space. Kind of as a grounding technique. So it's what
And so if you have a student who you're working with feeling anxious, feeling nervous, like you would send her around that student?
Yeah. So it kind of depends on what the student wants. So sometimes, or what I want. So her therapy work and service work are technically two different things.
Oh, really?
Some of her stuff is service. Yeah. Because a service dog is different than just like a therapy dog. So like a part of my story is I have like a diagnosis. I mean, I was diagnosed with some anxiety disorders when I was younger and stuff. And so I used to have like panic attacks and things like that. And so she, like the space clearings for me, the weight bearing is for patients and me. So sometimes like, if a patient's feeling anxious, then she'll just go sit on their lap and put pressure, and she'll also use her head. So she'll just walk up to you and use her head and push it on you and start applying pressure. So it's kind of like a distraction. So like whenever people start having panic attacks, as a therapist, I teach some grounding techniques, which is find something you can touch, something you can smell, something you can see, hear, like get all your senses going, because the way I kind of approach anxieties, it's like a natural thing that we had from when we needed it. Like when humans needed survival, and you get anxious, because if you think about what happens during panic attacks, you start get sweaty, your heart rate increases, you're more alert, everything's on fire, like you're like ready to go, kind of freaking out. And that would have been good if like I was having to run away from an animal, or I was trying to kill a buffalo, like, and I was back in the day. But now, like, I don't need it when I go to Tom Thumb. I don't need it when I'm walking down the street. Like it's pretty unnecessary, but life or death, I probably still would need it. Like if I had felt like something was happening to my son, I had to grab him fast, like that's there. So it's not necessarily like it's a bad thing. It's just when it's uncontrollable, it's bad. So I try to teach the grounding technique stuff, and that's where she plays a big role in that, especially during the therapy type too, because the space clearing and those anxieties happen a lot in the therapy world. So that's what she's kind of cued for, to train us in the therapy department.
That's incredible, man. I'm just just so blown away by that. To have not only to have a badass hunting dog, because I mean, at least from your Instagram, she looks like a badass hunting dog. But to have that therapy slash service dog side of her, that is pretty cool. Like, how did you? Was it just because you had to learn how to train for that stuff, or like how did you learn how to train for like that service and therapy side for the dog?
Um,
Because it's like a whole nother world that a lot of people aren't
so
exposed to.
that's what they call them owner trained service dogs. I think you can go get a license to train service dogs. Technically, I don't have that. I kind of just, and I don't even know if that's like a legitimate thing. A lot of my service training work comes from, going to counseling school and learning like what techniques helped with that and seeing how dogs can assist with that or animals could assist with that. And so I just take that and put that into the service therapy part of it. As far as learning how to train dogs, I mean, I rented VHSs when I was in high school on how to train a hunting dog, and so like
VHSs,
yeah,
we're going old school
from a library. I didn't have like internet was barely like around when I first got my first hunting dog. Like there wasn't much forums back then, like, and I've been a computer person my whole life, so I knew how to research that. But yeah, no, I would rent stuff from like the library. I wish I could find those, what I actually learned to train from my first time. Like for hunting dogs. But the service dog work, no, I've read a lot of books, and then I look at owner trained service dog stuff, and then just kind of taught myself, asked some random people. There's some groups like on Facebook where people train them and they give you ideas of different things to do. I mean, and you can look at different tasks, and I just kind of started researching it and did it myself.
Yeah, man, that's pretty incredible. Hey, let's transition over to hunting side a little bit. How was this past season for you? What'd you get out and do or chase?
Man. So this season was fun. Like I said, I have an almost 2-year-old, and I still hunted, I think like 40 something days out of the year.
Nice. Well done. It's possible, ridiculous. People. It's possible. I got 5 kids, and I didn't hunt as much. I had a back injury this past season, but still I was able to get out there. So
yeah, I got lucky. I've only been a public land hunter until this last year, really. I got a duck lease that's like 25 minutes from my house. And so I could be back home by like 8:30. I would get the first few good flights in and be able to like take my son to daycare or Mother's Day out. And then my work schedule completely shifts during hunting season. So everything goes, especially during duck season, everything goes to the afternoon. So I don't see patients before noon during the hunting season. And then, when I travel, I try to make them quick. I went to the Dakotas or South Dakota, I'll say at least a state, right? South Dakota. And I did, it was like a 14-hour drive. So we drove there, got there at 4 a.m., slept in the field, literally like pulling the truck in the field, slept there. And then hunted Saturday, Sunday, left after our Sunday limit at like 11, got back here at like 3 a.m. and I worked on Monday.
There you go. It's doable. You got to put the work in, sleep a little less, but it's possible.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Did you mostly hunt? So waterfowl upland, is it kind of half and half? Is it more waterfowl for you?
It's more waterfowl just because of where I live. I mean, I've guided some hunts, and I guide at like a preserve around here, but there's no wild birds within 4 hours of me, probably maybe 3. I could find some up in Oklahoma or West Texas. Quail, if the quail population is doing good, but that's hit or miss all the time. And so you kind of just have to chase that water that year where it was at. But no, it's kind of, I have to just duck hunt a lot because that's what is around here. And I really do enjoy public lake hunting. Even though I had that lease, I probably went equally as much to public lakes around me this year because it's kind of fun to hike in, 3 hours and shine off people with boats and like honey holes and shoot like 2-man limits. I mean, we hiked in on the coldest day this year and we saw flocks of 20 to 40, 50 pintails, which is unheard of for us down here. Just like we get to pick out our drakes. We were like, is that a flock? Like huge flock of pintails? Like we couldn't believe it.
Yeah.
So, it's unfortunate. Well, not unfortunately, but it's mostly duck hunting here just because it's so far. But
yeah, just based on what you have down there and bird population and.
Yeah, and this year I hunted, so I hunted South Dakota, Kansas, Colorado, Texas, all for upland. I went to the Panhandle to hunt upland, and then so that's all the states I went to. And
okay, nice.
Wyoming in September.
How was Kansas and how was Colorado for you this year?
Colorado's fun. I did a lot more dove hunting there, and the upland there is kind of few and far between.
Agreed.
Yeah, I hunt, but I love Kansas. I have a good buddy that lives there, and I like going there on turn and burn trips and just kind of public fielding it up and
Yeah.
finding out.
They have
Like
they have some.
there's
Oh, sorry. I was just gonna say they have some serious walk-in access land.
oh,
It's
it's so
plentiful.
much. I mean, like, and that's what makes it kind of fun is you don't have to know anything, just go. I mean, that's what I did one of my first times. I was just like, I don't know where to go. I had a buddy that lived in a certain area, and he's like, hey, these are some good spots. And my friend AJ, he was like, yeah, go to this area. Actually, he sent me a couple of fields. He's like, walk these.
Yeah.
But no, it's good. I like, it's fun. It's more challenging. I will say, like South Dakota, I saw 50 to 100 bird flush, and I'm like, not even like my first time, first pheasant upland hunt ever. That's what I saw. I was like, oh,
is this what it's like?
Yeah. And I guess I've learned now that it's not always like that. There are still some of those spots like that. But no, that was my very first hunt ever. And like on my very first upland hunt, it was like the blind leading the blind. I took another, he's actually a Napa breeder. I took another poodle pointer guy who had never done a wild bird hunt.
Oh man. See, and this is in South Dakota.
Yeah.
Nice.
And we just went and we hunted and we all shot. I don't think either of our dads got one.
Okay.
I think we both did. I don't know if either of the dads did, but we did duck hunting and pheasant hunting up there. And it was, like I said, none of us knew what we were doing as far as it went.
But you went. I think that's the important thing, man. So many people can get hung up on so many things, like the dog you have, the gear you don't have or do have, whatever. I think the important thing is just going, figuring it out, because like I went chase Sharpies last year for the first time, fell in love with it. I had no idea what the hell I was doing, but I learned a lot, figured it out, like dogs figure it out. So I think that's the takeaway, people, if you're listening to this.
Yeah. And I think the thing is people think you can read or learn stuff how to do it, but 90% of, I don't know, when I'm hunting with ladies, I've learned to read her way better. So I watch her work and I'm like, all right, this is where we're headed. Like, I'm going to gear her this way because like that's, reading your dog, I think has been the biggest thing that I've taken away from hunting these last 2 seasons and doing upland to make it better, because the more I can read her, the better, like the higher chances are, because she's a better hunter than I am. Like legitimately, she'll find birds when, there's no way I would see them there. So
yeah, I can't tell you how many times my dog will want to go a certain direction when I'm solo hunting. And there's times I'm like, I don't think you're right. Like, I think we should go right. And time again, he locks up on point. I'm like, oh crap. No, I got to go back the other way. But you learn those cues. You learn to trust your dog's nose over our gut feelings.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, and then like, they learn a lot too. Lady busted a ton of birds when she was young, but I also didn't I just took her out. I taught her on that wild birds. I was like, you know what? I'm going to let you do this, because that's how I wanted to, I wanted her to range a lot. And I wanted her to run hard and fast, and I didn't want to slow her down. So I was like, all right, go learn naturally. And the first season, she had some solid points. This last season, I threw in chickens and Sharpies, and that messed her mind up. But she pointed some. I mean,
that's awesome.
A lot, and that was fun. Those are fun to hunt. I hunted those, I guess, September or August of last year.
Okay.
That was that turn and burn trip to South Dakota I made.
Okay. Nice.
Just for chickens and Sharpies.
That's awesome. You said you're going to try Wyoming this year?
Yeah, I have a buddy that lives, he's actually a game warden in Wyoming. I grew up playing video games with him.
Oh, nice. There you go.
But he's like, he moved there, I guess, last year. He originally is from North Dakota.
Okay.
But he moved there last year, and he's like, yeah, the sage grouse here are great. You should come.
That's awesome.
And so I kind of that's one of the target birds I have this year is a sage grouse. Because like I said, I'm new to upland. I mean, like I shot my first pheasant, chicken, quail, sharp tail, all that within the last 2 years. I mean, so it's still fairly all new to me, and I'm trying to learn as much as I can. I think if I had to choose one, I don't know what I would choose. It's hard to pick, if I like duck hunting or pheasant flushing or roost chickens flying. I mean, they all kind of have their perks. They all make you a little excited in a different way. And so I don't know. They're all fun. I like quail too. Quail holding is fun as heck to go.
You get great dog work off most of the quail, and even Sharpies hold really well for dogs. And roosters I love roosters, but they are a pain in the butt to hunt sometimes with a pointing dog. Hey, talk about, so poodle pointers kind of in general, but also lady, like what's her natural range? Like what's her style? Is she kind of like a lab as far as range goes? Like talk about that a little bit.
So it depends. I mean, she'll range chicken hunting 350, 400 yards sometimes. thick cover, 100 yards, 50. I mean, she kind of changes for what it's in.
That's good.
I mean, last year
that's
when
what
we
you
were
want.
hunting, right after it snowed in South Dakota, we were hunting, and all the other dogs were working kind of far, and Lady was over here farting around like 30 yards to my right. And I'm like, God dang it. Seriously, what are you doing? Next thing you know, she blocks up. I'm like, what the? And I mean, it's literally like behind us almost at this point. And she flushed it was a hen, so we didn't shoot. And similar thing in the Panhandle this year. Like all the dogs ran to this brick wall of it was, what do they call the rolling things? I just went blank. Tumbleweeds, yeah. Like, and they were like 4 foot tall. Like they were up to like my chest tall. And all the dogs acted birdie there. Well, none of them would like go through it. Well, we start walking, and the next thing you know, I see Ladies on point 35 yards behind me. I'm like, did she just stop? I was like, if that dog just sat down, I'm going to go pick her up. So I'm like half walking over, like kind of pissed off.
Yeah.
And then she's on point, 2 roosters, flush up. And so, I mean, and I've seen her point, 250 yards away and hold it. So she kind of does both.
That's really good. It's kind of what you want as far as versatility goes. Like the dog adapts to the cover you're in, not just, okay, she only hunts X yards away. It changes.
She's a track start too. So like her first 2 fields, she's going to fly. I mean, she's a lot faster than most. And then she starts slowing down. I mean, and she'll be 3 in September. So she's still a fairly young dog trained by a first time Upland guy, to be honest. So I'm hoping this year, I'm thinking this year will probably be one of her better years, because it's kind of all started to connect the dots with her. And so no, that's.
I would agree. Year 3 is where Gage really turned it on. He'll be 4 in August, and it just this past season I was like, wow, some things are just clicked, and some more light bulbs went on. Yeah. So that's a fun year. Let's see. I wanted to ask you another thing. I mean, you're fairly new Upland hunter. You've done some waterfowl, but like, what's something you would share with someone new, like just getting into upland hunting? Maybe they're just getting their first bird dog, getting into upland this year, even. Like, what's some piece of advice you would want to share with them?
I would say, like the best thing that's been for me is I joined a NAVDA group. I found the guys that I thought were like the biggest time hunters that had good dogs, which I don't know, we all were poodle pointer people. So I just kind of attached to them. And Kirk, honestly, like, finding people to help you. Like, I mean, like getting someone to kind of walk you through this and not do it alone. There's NAVDA everywhere. And if you don't have that, Nastra has stuff. I mean, there's different groups that have different things. And that if you really don't have a community for it, that's where I would start. Cause that's how I found mine. I didn't, it's all through NAVDA. I met Kirk, I met my other buddy, and then had a friend in Kansas that was kind of correlated with all of them. And so that's really it, is just try to connect with people. Cause I think that's probably been the easiest thing for me to get, well, 1, places to hunt, and 2, like getting taught, if you don't know, you can go read stuff and watch YouTube videos, but expanding your kind of community and having friends and people to hunt with, I would say would probably be the most, or like the best way to start it out.
That's really good. Are you going to continue NAVDA testing, Lady?
No, my original goal is to get a prize 1 on her. She got a prize 2 the last time, but on the utility test, and then maybe do the invitational with her. It's kind of changed a little bit since I decided to breed her, because now I'll have my own kennel name before dog, and I'll have either a male or female that is from her. And so I'll probably push that dog to get the prize 1 invitational. And now I'm teaching her hand signals. So she probably won't go do a duck search again, or she would, but she'll pop and look at me is what will happen. So that's why you can never teach a dog how to cast, because, like on duck hunts, if she casts in the middle of the water and she's not seeing anything, she's going to look back at me, and I'll back her, or I'll give her direction. Well, anytime you do that on an NAVDA test, you get dinged a point.
Gotcha. So in the duck searches, they want just the all natural search.
Ideally what they want is a dog to cross right where they tell you the duck's at. She's about 100-ish yard cross, and then search 10 minutes, that shoreline, and bring the duck back to you. And they usually expect you to find the duck. So they find the duck, and then you have to recast them without a cue. So you just have to heel them and send them, and they got to go search again, and at least prove that they're searching again and not just waiting for you to tell them where to go. Like they want to see. Yeah, it's a little tricky.
Yeah. And you mentioned something about the time. So she searched for 8 minutes, but they want 10 minutes. So they want them to search a certain amount of time.
Yeah. At least 10 minutes. Yeah.
Oh, I did not know that.
Prize, like prize 1, they have to search a certain amount of time. Yeah. Even if they find the duck, they still send them out. And like say they find the duck in like 2 minutes, they won't make them go search a whole other 8 minutes without that, but they will make them prove that they're searching. Like they want to see that.
So they want to send them back out.
Yeah, no, they'll make you send them back out. If your dog finds it in 2 minutes, it's not like you just got your prize and you go away. No, you have to teach them to stay out, which is, it's just more natural. You have to let it, like you have to train that. Like I used to, when I did duck search training, I used to put out like 5 or 6 ducks at a time. So there wouldn't just be one. So she got used to sending 4 times and stuff like that. So just different ways to train for it, which is, it's good and bad. Like I said, I don't like it because I hunt big water here most of the time and I need hand signals, but
sure,
I could see the positive side of it because
definitely.
Duck goes down in a flooded corn field, which that happened to us in South Dakota. Lady wasn't even one yet, but my buddy had a utility tested dog and he just sent it to search and the dog came back with a mallard. I'm sitting there holding that drink. So I was like, that's where that's useful.
Can come in handy.
Yeah. But I think that's about it.
That's really cool. All right, brother. So we're going to end this on our rapid fire questions. So a couple questions I'll ask you. Just kind of give me your short answer. I always tell everyone, if you need to expand, you can expand. This is not hard and fast rules, but would you prefer a solo hunt with you and your dog or a group hunt with some buddies?
Is my dog on the group hunt or just me?
Dog as well.
Probably my dog with the group. If not, my dog's not with that group, me and my dog.
Okay. Oh, that's good. No one's asked that before. I'm assuming the dog is always with me. I will not. Well, I don't think I would hunt without a dog.
Well, I had a group and they were like, we have our other dog. And I was like, well, that's fine. I'm going to go to this other lake and hunt solo then since I can't bring, mine. And they were like, why? What do you mean? That's what I said. Yeah.
Oh, that's that's good. That's gutsy. If not a poodle pointer, what's your second favorite breed?
I mean, I love labs. I'll never not love labs just because I love their temperament. I love that they'll do anything for you. Probably labs. Upland versatile dogs. I haven't seen it. I like Vizslas. I've worked with a guy that has some really good Vizslas that I like. I call them little jumping beans because that's what they look like to me. So I like those.
That's awesome. Do you sorry, this is a side question. In the service world, your therapy world, are you seeing some other breeds of dogs? And what are some other breeds you've seen that do this can do this well?
So it's not frowned upon, but no one will tell you just to get a versatile dog for service work, which I would probably agree with. Like it's going to be a unique service dog therapy owner. But I mean, there's plenty of therapists and people that have service dogs that hunt and do outdoor stuff. So I think those type of people could utilize them for that, but they're really not utilized much because, if you don't know how to work them in the hunting part, then they're not going to ever be viable in the service area because they're going to just be 24/7 or searching or tracking. They hit a scent that they're not used to. And if they're not trained that that's something I can ignore right now, then they're going to go try to track it. And so I would say that that's probably been like what's deterred people from it. I mean, and poodle pointer people won't ever sell them to non-hunters. I mean, it's very niche, small, like I think you were 5,000.
Yeah. When you were, when my power went out, we were trying to record this a couple nights ago. You were mentioning just how kind of tight and small this poodle pointer community is.
Yeah, it's everyone knows everyone. I will probably say that to the most part. It's a small organization or a small group because I think ladies literally like number 5,300 ever registered.
No way.
Been here. Oh yeah, so less than 5,000 ever. Wow. In the U.S. since like the 50s, I guess, is when they were first imported by a guy named Bodo, and Bob started breeding them, I guess, in the 70s.
Okay.
80s. I'm not even sure actually when his kennel started, but he's been doing it forever. I mean, he's got tons of dogs, and so he started breeding them, and everyone they created NAVDA. NAVDA was created by 2 of 3 poodle pointer people, Bodo and Bob, I think, were the main 2, and then I forgot the other person, but they created that testing system and kind of started saying, hey, we're going to test our dogs, only hunt tests, no conformation tests. They do look at their coats, and they judge them. But it's not against the breed standard to have like a different style coat. They're not really looked at for that. It's more of, is it a tested hunting dog? Yes or no? And that's kind of the question that everyone breeds off of.
Gotcha. And this is kind of a weird technical question, I guess. Maybe you don't know the answer to. So when they're breeding poodle pointers now, they're just breeding poodle pointer to another poodle pointer, right? They're not, or are they still mixing in poodles and?
Well, they don't mix in poodles anymore, and that's always kind of like a topic of debate. So now NAVDA requires DNA testing. There was always talks of older breeders, big time breeders that would throw a pointer in there every once in a while, and not tell anybody and just sell the dogs to like a small group, to be honest. And so then people were like, well, what's that? And so then you can look into the pedigree some and kind of see where that's at. It's just not, you don't know if that makes sense. So I know in like the Czech and Austria, they still introduce pointers there. In Germany, I think you can still get permission. Bodo was the only guy that had permission from NAVDA, I think, to introduce pointers.
And real quick, when you say pointer, we're talking English pointer, or?
Like a standard, like a
like
old school pointer.
GSP?
No, not a GSP. No, like a legit pointer, like a, what do they call them?
The English pointer?
Yeah, I think an English pointer. Yeah.
Okay. The big white dogs.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So
Gotcha.
he actually went and found, because he went and found this dog called DeMarc's Gift, which his dad was like one of the best, or he was a field trialer. Like they called him a quarter miler. He'd range out a quarter mile type dog is what they said. And so he was like a huge dog. That's the last pointer Bodo introduced in the poodle pointer lines back in the day. And so you can look at the lines, and I think that's the only one that I've seen recently. And like I said, I don't know if NAVDA would give people permission to do that anymore. I don't know how all that works because of DNA testing stuff now, but I know poodles aren't ever introduced to it anymore. And that was the last time a pointer was, and they're pretty much just only bred to each other. Like I don't think anyone here is trying to throw pointers into it anymore. Like,
gotcha. So they're set enough there where you don't need to kind of throw in those.
No, you don't. I think they do that to add range because, and then also like, so these dogs are from Germany, right? So Bodo's idea, that's where he was from. His idea was we hunt a lot different here than we do in Germany. He goes, so the dogs that they have as their best hunting dogs aren't going to be good here. We don't do drive hunts.
It's very different.
Yeah. He's like, so I'm going to raise dogs to kind of hunt here. And so that's why I think he threw more pointers into it just for that reason, because, we have wide open country here. And I don't know what the Czech land is like. So Lady's dad's actually from the Czech Republic. He's an importer.
Oh, wow.
And he was supposedly Bob's like one of his best chucker dogs, like open country, just hauling, but was not great in the water, where her mom was like great in the water. So I don't know if Czech has a lot of land too, and that's where they've added pointers, but Lady doesn't have the big blockhead, wide hips, like stoutness that a lot of poodle pointers have. She's more slender, kind of like a pointer. So I think if I were to look at her dad, there's probably one without not too many far generations back. So
gotcha. Okay. Very thought. Thank you for that. It was we took a little detour back to our rapid fire. What gun are you carrying out into the uplands? And also what gun are you carrying into waterfowl?
So
maybe the same.
Yeah. So, I mean, I've always been, we got to just try to do what we can. So I carry like an A400 12 gauge is what I shoot right now. I don't really I have a 20 gauge pump that I bring out every once in a while. I have an old 12 gauge pump, but I don't usually hunt besides with that gun just because it's my favorite. I like it. And then I don't think I've ever been good enough to just be like, you know what, I can just go try this niche hunting. So like, it's like, I got to take the biggest gun I got. To be honest, I mean, that's
nothing wrong with that.
I'm not that good. So I have to make up for it with my gun. But no, my goal this year is to shoot my 20 gauge a lot more just because I don't know. I like that. I have gotten a better shot, training dogs, shooting pigeons for them. A lot of times a year you get better. I mean, like, it's just naturally I've gotten to where I can hold a camera in one hand and like almost like this. Like I've recorded some of those. So
that's awesome. That's awesome. All right, favorite bird species to so far? I know you're somewhat new-ish to this.
Upland, just the sage grouse, I guess, would be the big ones I haven't yet. And then huns. I haven't done huns. I've heard huns are fun.
Yeah.
It's either ducks or pheasant. I can't. Probably pheasant.
Okay.
The chase is so. I mean, especially like I don't know, a Kansas public land pheasant late season in a crowded busy. Like it's been just hammered, and your dog gets one later on. Like that's fun to me. Like I like that feeling. But a mallard decoying in 30-degree water, like
that's cool too. That's cool too.
I don't know. I would say it's tied between those two.
Okay, it sounds very close.
Yeah.
All right, last one. Beverage of choice after a hunt.
I drink a lot of teas nowadays.
Nice.
I like flavored teas, so like blackberry, hibiscus, stuff like
Ooh,
that.
we're going fancy here.
Yeah,
Oh,
I started brewing teas when I was in my halfway house because they were like, they had this place called Tivana where they like open up these massive things, like you smell it, and be like, you like that aroma? I was like, oh my god, this is like buying drugs. Like if I'm being honest, I was like, I like this a lot. So
sure.
I got a lot into teas off of that.
That's awesome. You're a sweet tea fan down there?
Oh yeah.
Okay. Chick-fil-A or Raising Cane sweet tea?
Chick-fil-A's sweet tea is garbage. Unless it's
really?
Yeah, it's not that good unless it's the summertime. They have that like peach one that they come out in the summertime. Their lemonade at Chick-fil-A is good.
Yeah.
Sweet tea from Chicken Express is the best down here. It's
okay. I haven't had
90% sugar. When you're here, go find a Chicken Express and get some. You'll find out if you have diabetes or not. I promise.
Okay, good test. It's like that the test that the women do when they're pregnant. They have that sugar test they do.
Yeah. No, I'm telling you, that thing is like it's syrupy almost. Like it's like thick tea. Like I'm not being sarcastic, but it's good.
I don't know. I don't know if you're wanting me to try. It's not appealing to me right now, but maybe I'll try it.
It's sweet. All I'll say is if you want sweet tea, it's sweet.
All right. Sounds good, man. Well, cool. How can people get a hold of you if they have questions, if they just want to connect with you more? What's the best way to do that?
Probably my Instagram or Facebook, or I don't know, my cell phone I give out to everybody. Even my patients all have my cell phone number. So it's my last name's Stohner. It's Stohner. There's a silent H in there, which kind of throws people off, but it's pronounced Stohner. And Stoners Poodle Pointers is my Instagram handle. So I think that'd probably be the easiest way. My cell phone number, which is 214-215-9650.
Look at that. First cell phone number given out on the podcast. You're a brave man.
I'm an open book when it comes to a lot of this stuff too. And I actually like helping people in any form or fashion. I've taken a call from it. Actually, when I was driving to Kansas here, I had a dad that texted me at like 2 a.m. like, hey, I don't expect a response. We're kind of in this emergency situation. I don't know what to do. Could you call back in the morning? I was calling right there. And I was like, oh, hey, I'm on my way to Kansas right now. He's like, I did not expect you to call me. He's like, but I appreciate, like he couldn't believe it. So I really do kind of enjoy my job, both of them, like training, hunting, breeding, and counseling. So I kind of don't mind getting a lot of calls and texts.
That's incredible, man. Thanks for opening up, sharing a little bit of your story, your passion with hunting, your work, all that. I really appreciate this conversation. Love getting to know you. And I think you're going to have a lot of fun raising these pups the next few weeks.
I've heard the first 3 weeks are the easy ones too, is the crummy part.
Oh geez. Oh yeah. Once they get more mobile, right? That's where it becomes tricky.
So we'll see how that goes. But no, I'm excited. Yeah, no, we'll have to definitely, especially you're in Colorado, sometime up there. We'll have to plan a hunt together somewhere and
definitely
some Brittany's, and you can see some poodle pointers.
Absolutely.
She's a fun one. So
I'm excited. I'll be up in I don't know where I'm going. I keep saying Montana. I might go to North Dakota now, Wyoming. I don't know. I'm still figuring out my fall.
Wyoming, late September. September 27th is my birthday, so I get a trip then.
Oh, nice. That's my. Oh no, my kid's birthday is a couple days later. Very close, but.
Yeah, so I always I get a trip that time, and that's early season for most stuff. But I think I'm gonna go chase sage grouse then, and then I don't know. I'm gonna go to South Dakota at least once, and then a lot of my puppies are going to like a grouse guide. 2 grouse guides in Wisconsin that I got invited to go hunt with.
Nice.
North Dakota. So I might go try to visit some pups probably this next year or after that year, probably the year after. So I can actually
see how they're doing. Yeah, definitely. That's exciting, man. Well, Scott, thanks again, man. Really enjoyed this, and we'll be talking again soon. All right.
All right. Well, have a good one, man.
You too. All right, that is a wrap of episode 17 of the Upland Rookie Podcast. Guys, thanks so much for tuning in, giving this one a listen. Scott was an amazing guest. I really love chatting with him. Him and I talk quite a bit still, just catching up. I'm seeing how his pups are doing, and just a fun guy to talk to. Again, newer to upland hunting, hunts a lot of waterfowl in Texas, and I love how he just went for it. Drove up to South Dakota last year and got it done. So really, really fun guy. Scott, thanks so much for your time, brother. It was a fun one doing with you. Hey guys, don't forget, if you can leave a rating and a review on Apple Podcasts, that would mean the world to me. I read every single one of those reviews you write, and it serves the algorithm gods of Apple. It just helps this podcast get out there to more people, more hunters, dog lovers, just like you. So go ahead, leave a rating and a review. Would love for you to do that. Also share it with a friend, share it on social media, send the podcast link to your mom, your brother, sister, I don't care, someone, your neighbor, your aunt, your uncle. You know the drill. Yeah, guys, that's all I got for you this week. Stay tuned next week. I got another great episode coming out for you. We're hitting the podcast apps every Tuesday, so make sure you guys are subscribed and getting those episodes every Tuesday when they are coming out. So, guys, thanks so much again for the support. It means so much to me. Hey, until next week, just remember, if you're not lucky enough to hunt with or own a Brittany, don't worry, because any bird dog is better than no bird dog. Go put some miles on those boots and have fun. Peace.